Hey everybody, so today in After Effects, what I thought we would do is look at shape layers a little bit more in depth and a little bit more technically, and some things that you can do with shape layers, and we'll explore them a little bit more. But I thought it might be fun if we take some other ideas that we've learned in other previous tutorials about how to use masks and how to use text and how to use different objects and animation and really play with something kind of real world as an idea. So we're going to get into kind of a motion graphics idea. I think shape layers are particularly a place where we can use a lot of motion graphic concepts and motion graphic techniques to get something. So I downloaded this infographic here. It's this picture of this infographic about climate change, and it's a static image, so it has some text in here, has some obvious shapes in here, some of which are easy to make, some of which will be more complicated, but we'll kind of play through this as an idea. I'm going to double click this layer and have this open up as a footage panel, and I'm going to take this footage panel and I'm going to just drag it over the side here so it's here. And I thought what would be fun is to take this as a still image and turn it into an animated thing. So we're going to go through as much of this as we can and kind of create an animation that may be workable and may be creative and interesting. So I'm going to go here and I'm just going to make a new composition. In this new composition, I will stick to my HD 1920 by 1080 24 frame per second preset, and I will go here and say, let's just make this 20 seconds long. So we'll hit 20:00. We'll leave the background black for now, and we'll keep this as is. And so I've made this composition, so this will be my main composition that I have here. It'll look like this. Now, I'm going to start off, we're going to actually create this as a kind of a 3D thing, that we're going to create a camera that can pan down this, because this is obviously a lot taller than it is wide, and this is a lot wider than it is tall, because this is in the HD 16:9 perspective. And so we're going to work with this kind of as an idea, simple enough. So I'm going to make this white background, and I'm just going to make this with a solid. Yeah, in here, Command Y, simple enough, white solid, we'll make this comp size. This will be the background throughout, so we don't need to make this 3D as we go. We'll make this more later. We're actually make this pure white and have this be perfectly white. Excellent. Now for the next part, we're going to take this, I don't know, is this gray, blue gray, navy blue something? I don't know, medium blue gray, something in there. We're going to make this. This doesn't go for the full width of this thing. So this thing is wider, 1920 across here. This is a little bit smaller. This is like maybe 1600. I'm going to guess 1600. That's going to be my guess. And so I'm going to go here and I'm going to say Command Y, and we'll make another solid. So instead of being 1920 by 1080, we'll make this 1600 by 1080. And we're going to choose this color, something up with the eyedropper, and choose this color. Medium gray, royal blue, solid. Yeah, that's what we were thinking. Medium gray / royal blue. That was the color. So we'll make this here like this, and we'll make this kind of this big here. Now again, this goes to the bottom of the screen here, but eventually what we're going to do, and I'll just show you this right now, what we're going to do is we're going to make this 3D so that this has some motion to it. And then later on we'll make a camera, Command-Alt-Shift-C, or layer new camera. We've talked about cameras before. So I'm going to be on this window here. Layer new camera, and we'll make a camera, Command-Option-Shift-C, and we'll make a camera. And that camera will be, say, maybe a one-node camera. We'll make the 50mm camera by default. And what we'll do is, we'll actually have this, since this is 3D, now what we can do is we can say, let's go position-wise, and we'll just go down so that we can see more of this as we go. So we'll just kind of try through here and have it be a 3D thing. So we'll have it kind of like this, you know, right here, and have the camera right there. We'll leave that alone for now. We won't worry about the camera per se, but we'll have this here, just like there. We'll leave the camera on, and we'll have this be 3D. So let's talk about some ideas of what we're going to make. Well, first thing we want probably is this white solid to fade up, and we want this medium, what is this, medium gray royal blue solid? Yeah. We want this to fade up. We're going to change the white background, or the white solid, to BG for background. And I don't know, we'll leave this called what it is. We'll call this whatever it is. And we're going to fade this up. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here and have this fade up. So we'll say the background will fade up maybe over 1 second. So we'll go here 1 second with the T key, and we're going to have this fade up from 100 to about 0, or from 0 to 100. So this is going to fade up like this. And then maybe like a moment later, after this is like halfway through its fade up, this will fade up. And we can actually just grab this, Command C, hop onto the medium gray solid, Command V, and boom. Now we have this fading up. I'll hit the U key so you can see this. So then this fades up like there. So we have this. Maybe this will fade up a little bit quicker. So they just kind of fade up rapidly after each other. So it's like boom, white solid, gray solid. Even this will have it start a little sooner. So it's almost like they're overlapping with the fade up. There we go. I like that. I like that as an idea. That kind of works for me as a start for this. So next thing we're doing, we're going to take this climate change text. And so I'm going to use a text control. I'm going to make some text, and we're going to say text, and we'll just write the word climate change here. So I'm going to write climate change. Now there's some problems with this climate change, obviously. There's some definite problems. We should go to the character controls and change this from marker felt. Clearly not marker felt. I believe this is Helvetica. I'm going to guess this is Helvetica. So we're going to type in Helvetica, maybe Helvetica regular. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll get rid of the stroke around this, so we'll delete the stroke, and we'll change this to white. And so we'll just make this perfectly white there. It's a little bit big, obviously, so we're going to make this a little bit smaller. Maybe not 162, maybe we'll move it at 120. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That fits pretty good there. Selection tool, sorry, V key, selection tool, and say, let's just take this and move this here. So that looks pretty good. I feel like this should be a little bit bold. Maybe fake bold, maybe faux bold. Yeah, that's better. That looks about the same, right? It looks relatively about the same. Yeah, it's okay. We're kind of working with it. So we have this guy here. Excellent. So I'm going to have this come on screen after this fades up. Maybe this will slide on screen. So now what we want to do is we want to make half of this orange. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the text controls. We've seen this before. In the text controls, we're going to open up the animate control and look at the fill color and change the fill color to RGB red and make this red. And so RGB by default makes it red, but we don't want it to be red, we want it to be orange. And so we're going to go here and say, let's grab this orange color, whatever color orange this is, and grab this. And so now this whole thing here is orange, which is sort of cool, but we want to go to the range selector and say only half of this is orange. If I do it from 50 to 100, is that half the thing? It's not bad, maybe 55. 55 to 100. Yeah, but same difference. So now it's half orange. Cool. So now we have this coming in half orange. And I'm going to actually do something a little bit different. So let's play a game where we say, let's take this and we're going to go here to this text. We're going to go to position controls, and I'm going to have this slide in here. So we'll have it slide in, like after this thing fades up, this thing will slide in, maybe about here. This will come up and slide in. It'll start sliding in from the left. And so it'll come in like this and slide in from the left, like there. And then so it's going to come in, climate change, cool. Maybe we'll animate that a little bit differently. We'll go into the speed graph here. Maybe we'll go first. Actually, we'll take this. We'll hit the F9 key, so we add some easies to this. So right now it has some easies. It's coming in like this. That's kind of cool. I want to tweak out the easies. Maybe we'll pull them back so it slides in really slow at the end. So it comes in really fast. We'll have this be really quick at the beginning and then slide out really fast at the end. So it kind of just comes in. Yeah, I like that. That's cooler. Just an effect we're going to do. Have this come in like there and have this roll in like this. Excellent. I don't think I want the text to show up over the white. For some reason, I don't know. I don't want it to show up over the white. So we're going to go from the here, from the switches here. We have all the switches available to us. We're going to switch back to the modes, and we're going to use the medium gray solid as a track matte for the climate change. Now this can be in front of this, and we can just say in here in the track matte section, so we're here in the track matte section, we're going to say track matte this to the medium gray solid. Now that's going to turn off the medium gray solid, but I actually don't want to turn off the medium gray solid. We want it to exist. But now what that's doing is it's basically saying that this exists only where the medium gray solid is. So when the medium gray solid comes in, you don't see it. See what I'm doing here? You don't see it here, but you see it here, and so it just exists like it's coming kind of inside of here. Yeah, I kind of like that as an idea. I don't know why, it's just kind of fun. Anyway, so this is coming on like this, and it's going to come on there, and it's going to be say climate change. And then maybe just for further fun, we'll go in here and we'll say, this is not completely, because this is the word change, and this is going to change. And so we're going to go to this animator that I added, this RGB animator. So in here I have this animator 1, which is the orange section of this. What if we said, hey, why don't we move the start point, instead of being 55 to 100, which is the word change, so this was 0 to 100, this is 55 to 100, instead of just being 0 to 100, we're just going to make this 55 to 100. We'll make this 100 to 100, which is going to put all of the orange at the end here, which is no orange. So this is going to come in completely not orange. And then as soon as it lands, it's going to move back. Maybe we'll have like here, and then once it comes in, it's going to roll back to 55 or 50. So then it's going to look like this. It's going to roll in white, but then as soon as it comes in, it's going to be like white. Whew, orange. There. We'll just move those a little bit earlier. have it be super quick. And again, it's a little playfulness. You know, you play a little bit. You get the kind of rhythm that you want. Yeah, I like that. I just like that idea that it starts off as white and then it's like climate change. So we really focus our attention on the idea of something being animated, and that thing being animated is the thing that we notice, and that thing is the word change. So that's cool animation. I think we're good so far, and we can just go home, end our day, call it, man, we did some amazing work here. Now we haven't even gotten to shape layers. Let's get into shape layers. All right, so let's play some more. Let's get into shape layers. And again, we'll make this 3D later so that we can actually have some work here, so we can move down this image and have some ideas that way. All right, so we're going to go with this bar right here. And this bar right here seems like a rounded rectangle. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to choose the rounded rectangle. And I'm going to choose a round rectangle. I'm not going to click on the word climate change because that's going to add a mask, and I don't want a mask. So I'm going to click away from this. And then all of a sudden, now I have the fill color and the stroke. Well, obviously, I want the fill color to be white. That would make more sense. And I don't want a stroke, and the stroke is set to 0, which is perfect. So let's move this up here. And now once this is here, we're going to go right from about the M. It looks like it's going right from about the N, M. And we're going to grab this right below this, maybe a little bit lower, and grab this to about here. Now this is kind of making a rounded rectangle, which is a rectangle with a little bit of rounded edges. But I'll show you a trick. If you use the left and right arrows, you can kind of make it more round or less round. And so you can kind of just decide fully round or unround. You can say not round or rounded. I think it should be more like this, maybe this big, and we'll have it go to right about here. Yeah, right about there. I feel like that's pretty good. And so now we have this rounded rectangle. So now we're going to decide how we want this rounded rectangle to come into the screen. We're going to have it come in like this. Or maybe we'll actually build first. We're going to build this whole contraption here. So I'm going to click on the shape layer. And I'm going to make a circle here. I'm going to make a white circle to make this white ring here. We can do this a couple ways, but we can make this white ring as an idea. We're going to take the ellipse tool, hold down and make the ellipse tool, and we're going to bring this up here and have this be here. Now for the shape layer, we actually don't want the shape layer to show up until about here. So we're going to actually just move this, or I can hit the option bracket and just trim this off. So now it sort of doesn't pop on until about here. Boom, there. But we're going to have this animate, so it's not even going to pop on. We'll just have it be just about here, starting here. But that just helps me organize so I know how long layers are lasting for and when they're coming on. And I can take the climate change and say, hey, we don't even want the climate change until it's here. The words climate change, we're just going to move this to there and then have it doesn't show up. And so now I know visually in the timeline where these things are and how they look. It's a thing we can do. You know, it's just an idea. It's just an idea of thing we can do. So we're going to take this rounded rectangle, and then the center of this rounded rectangle, I want to open up a white circle. So we're going to have a white circle. We're not going to click on climate change because that's going to make a mask. We're going to click on the shape layer and on the contents of the shape layer, and that's going to make a new shape. It's still white, which is perfect. We're going to take this and we're going to open this up and have this open right here. Now when we open this, it's going to open up this way, which is going to be a weird place for a circle. And even if I hold down shift, it puts it in a weird place here. It makes it perfectly round, but it puts it there, which is not kind of what I want to do. So let's undo that. And let's hold down command this time. And when I hold down command, it actually expands, making a radius so it opens up from the center. So I'm going to hold down command and I'm going to hold down shift so it makes a perfect circle. And we're going to have a great circle like there. Excellent. Maybe I'll just take this whole, the ellipse and the rectangle, and I'll move them over a little bit. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll just take the ellipse and move the ellipse over. We're going to go to the V key. I'll be on the ellipse and just say, let's go into the ellipse here. Shape layer ellipse, and we'll just move the ellipse over a little bit to here, maybe just to there, just so it's really almost touching the edge there. You know, where these things are. Climate change could come over a little bit. I just want a little space between change and there. All right, so let's animate these. Just for now, let's animate these. So what's going to happen is that here, we'll go to the rectangle's transform properties. So the rectangle has transform properties. We're going to go to position, and then at the beginning of this, right at the first frame of this, page down, first frame of this, we're going to have this off screen this way. So this is going to slide in the same way. And it's going to slide in there. It's going to be like boom, and it's going to come in there like there. Awesome. So this is going to come in. Once this comes in like here. Boom. We want to have this, maybe have some easies, F9, and then we'll go into here and we'll really tweak this out so it has a little bit of a different slide. It comes in like this. So it comes in slow and ends slow, just so it's a little playful. I don't know, yeah, there's a little whip in there. Cool, so we have this effect going on here. And then we're going to go here. And then what's going to happen is that when this makes contact, as soon as this makes contact right here, we're going to have this circle open up. So we're going to go to the circle, transform controls, and we're gonna have this open up with scale. So I'm gonna use scale this way. I'm gonna have it scale here, and we're gonna go here to there, and we're actually gonna put the keyframes, put another keyframe here, because I want to go back for a second. We'll go back to the previous keyframe, J key to the previous keyframe, and we'll make this 0. So this is gonna scale up from 0 to 100. So it's gonna look like this. Immediately this is gonna slide over, and it's gonna pop this bubble open. That's a little too slow. I don't like what it's doing. So we'll make it a little bit faster, make it a little bit sooner. Boom. No, that's too soon. It's too soon. Let's see what we got here. Let's just play with this a little bit, make this work. Whoops. Make this work. Boom. Just like that. Boom. Cool. Maybe one frame back. I feel like it should open up as soon as it hits there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to look at how this thing moves. Now this thing is moving using the speed graph, and I could put easies in this and have this move there. But what I think I want to do is I want to switch from the speed graph, right click to speed graph, and use the value graph. Now here's the truth. I used to be terrified of the value graph, and the value graph never made sense to me, and I never liked it, and I was always like, man, who uses the value graph? What kind of crazy person uses the value graph? Because speed, you know, it makes sense. You know, you go fast, you go slower, and this is faster, this is slower. What I like, though, is this is going from 0 to 100. The reason why I like this for moving scale is I can go here and I can do Command Option click this and make a Bezier handle, and I can take this Bezier handle and I can overshoot. And for doing some kind of like cartoony animation, this idea that I can overshoot, we'll do a little bit overshoot. This is like a 110 overshoot. You're gonna see this is gonna open, it's gonna bubble out. So it has a little bit of pop. Boom. It kind of rose up and got a little bit bigger, like a balloon, expanded and then fell back into place. So we're gonna actually do this a little bit more. We're gonna crank this up a lot so you can really see this. We're gonna up to 150 here, maybe 150. I don't know. We'll try. Yeah, we're up to 155. That's gonna be a lot. That's gonna be a lot. We maybe do that. Yeah, I like that, but a little bit less. We're gonna come down here to 140. Boom. Yeah, just so it has a little bit of playfulness. We have this being boom, does like that. Great. We can do it a little bit less, maybe a little bit later. Boom. Just a little bit of bump. Yeah, fantastic. So we have this animation happening here. So I'm going to take this ellipse, and this is the fun part. I'm going to take this ellipse, I'm going to make another one for the inner ellipse. And so I'm going to take this ellipse, we're going to duplicate this ellipse, Command D, duplicate this ellipse, and we're going to have another ellipse. And that other ellipse is going to be fill color. Here in fill color, we're going to change the fill color to this shade of yellowish whatever, which is going to put it the same size. The fun part about this is that you have the transform properties to play with the scale, but the scale right now is already being animated because I duplicated this, and the duplicate is always doing the scale animation, which is sort of what I want, but not exactly what I want. In this case, I want to make this smaller, and it would be a pain in the butt to kind of make this smaller when I already have the scale adjustments here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to ellipse path and adjust the size and make it smaller here. And this is a separate size adjustment, not the scale adjustment, which is already being animated. I used to be really confused about this. I used to be like, why is there a scale adjustment when you have a size adjustment, or why is there a size adjustment when you already have a scale adjustment? Why do you have both? This is the number one reason. So you have a separate thing that can actually make this circle smaller, like this, and it will do the same animation, just smaller. And it's still doing the same animation as a separate thing. Now we're going to go a step further, because honestly, with what we have right now, we could do this with just this, with a stroke around this. We could have just made this one and then put a stroke around it, and we would have been fine. But what we want to do here is we want to take this keyframes, and I'm going to offset this so that these happen a step later. So we're going to grab these and move these a step later. So then it's going to be outer bubble opens up, and then inner bubble opens up. And then so it has just a little more playfulness. I don't know, we're just doing stuff. So it's kind of like one bubble and then bubble, bubble. I don't know, that's kind of fun. Boom, boom. So we have to use 2 layers to do that. It would be different story to try to move the stroke separate from the thing. Now we could do this layer, and I don't know, I never thought about this before, but we could take this outer ellipse. If we said we don't want the ellipse fill, we could say, let's get rid of the fill, turn off the fill, eyedropper, get rid of the fill. Now it's not doing anything because it doesn't open up. You see it there, but it doesn't open up. I'm wondering if we just had a stroke. What if we just had a stroke on this? Say a white stroke. Is this better? So we have this open up like this. And so it opens up with the outer ring. So this is the outer ring opening up. And then this fills in. I don't know. Is that better? We'd have to make it a little bit bigger so that it covers over the rest of this here. So I don't know, is this better or is that better? Yeah, no, I don't like that as much. We're going to undo what I just did. It was just a try. And we're going to turn on the fill back in. Yeah, I like this better. I like the white being solid. I wasn't sure if the white ring would be better than the white solid. It's a filled in ellipse versus there. But now we have this animation, and we have both these kind of balloony, kind of exaggerated animation. This is great. And now we're going to take this and say, write the words geographic location in here. So we'll go to another text layer here, and we'll just say, let's throw in geographic location. And so now we're going to go here. Oh, one thing we forgot. We forgot about the globe in here. So let's take, I have a picture of a world map. I downloaded this picture of a world map. It's a black and white world map that we're just going to put right in here. And it looks like this. Well, it's black and white. It's not white and orange. So we need to change this. So we're going to go here into the effects controls, and under the color correction effects, we're going to go to color correction effects and choose tint. And we're going to add in a tint here, and we're going to tint this. Now, the tint control will make this black and white, which is what it already is, sort of. There. We're going to map white because the white section, which is the outside, should be orange. So we're going to make the white side this color orange. And that's going to map the white to orange. And we're going to map the black to white. And so now it looks more like that. And then we're going to use the good old effect perspective CC sphere. And we're going to use effect perspective CC sphere, and we're going to make this round. And so now we have a globe. Now we have some globe controls, so we're going to say the radius of this may be a little bit smaller. We're going to move this over so it fits kind of inside of here. We'll see how big this is. Oh yeah, that's way too big. Way too big. Maybe 120? I'm taking a guess here. 125. Nope, still smaller. Let's go to 100. 100 radius, depending on the size of the sphere. That looks okay. That's kind of what we want. This one looks a little bit more round compared to this one. This one looks more like flat, but still a globe. We still see it has a little bit of perspective changes, but this has shadow. It has some really sharp perspective changes. Let's see if we can reduce that. We're going to take the light height, go into the light controls, take the light height and raise the light height up to a little bit higher so it's a little bit more in the center of the sky. Excellent. So we have a little bit of light height. And then the shading controls really suggest how shadowy this is. So I always have trouble with this, but I think what I want to do is I want to crank up the ambient so it's overall brighter, so there's less there. And then I'm going to reduce the diffuse. We'll crank the ambient to 80. And we'll bring the diffuse down so it has that. And that looks maybe there. Maybe we'll bring the ambient back up there. Yeah, that looks cooler. So it's less diffuse lighting and it's more even there. It still looks like a globe, but then it looks more like a 2D-esque kind of cartoony globe as opposed to a real 3D looking sphere. You know, while we're here, why don't we just say we're gonna fade this up. So after this comes over, this comes up, boom. This sphere, we'll drag this over here so it doesn't exist to about here. And then once this opens up, this is going to open up, and then this is going to open up. We'll have it start here. This will fade up right about here. So we'll just go to the I key to go to the endpoint. We'll go to the T for the opacity. Reduce this down to 0. We'll animate this, and then maybe quickly, really quickly, it'll just fade up. Then we don't have to do anything crazy. Just fade up a little bit. So this is going to come in like this. There. And I think this should rotate. I think this should rotate like some kind of Earth rotates. Well, there's a rotation control in the CC sphere. God bless it. Close the radius, close the light, close the thing, just to be tidy. And which way? We want to rotate in the y-axis, so we're going to animate the y-axis, and then we're going to rotate maybe over the span of this thing. We'll go to the end. This will just be rotating the whole time. We're just kind of rotating, I don't know, maybe really slight, really just a little bit of rotation. Is that the way the Earth rotates, right? Okay, yeah, if that was the sun, that'd be coming around to there, and we have come around to there. So now it's just rotating very mildly. Yeah, maybe we'll have a slower fade up here. A little bit more dramatic, like bum, bum, bum. Little Earth rotating. That looks adorable. That looks fantastic. Amazing. Is that too slow? I don't know. If it's too slow, make it faster, but, you know, we can do that with keyframes. Now we have this, we have this, we have this, boom. This comes up there. Underneath this, we're going to have the word travel trends here. We could probably just do this with a solid. We could probably just have this with a solid here. So we're going to go Command Y. Command Y, we're going to make a new solid. This new solid is going to be this color orange. So we're going to make a new solid that's this color orange. We'll make this orange solid 1600, but we'll only make this maybe, how big is this? 50, 100? We'll make it 100. We'll go with 100. We'll try 100. Orange bar looks great. I think that's okay. We could make it a little thinner if we wanted to. No, I think that's okay. I think we'll leave it. Undo. I want this orange bar to be underneath the... Oh, it is. It's good. It's under the world map. It's under the climate. It's under the shape layer. This is going to be here. This is going to be up. I'm going to hold down Shift so it only moves vertically. If while you're dragging you hold down Shift, it'll only move in the direction you're going, so it won't accidentally slide over in any way. So we have that there. That looks pretty good. That looks good. How is this going to come in? We'll have this position. So this will fade up. And then this will fade up. Cool. And then this will come in here. And then before this, it'll be off screen this way. So it's going to come in, do its thing. Orange solid. Maybe we'll move that a little bit earlier. We don't want this to happen all pretty quickly. We want this to be kind of flashy and cool. We'll take these, we'll hit F9, or we'll go to Animation, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. Love it, and we'll just have this tweak in a little bit. We're back in the value graph, which in this case, for position, I'm not a big fan of value graph because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm going to go back to the speed graph. Okay, now I can see, I can tweak this so it comes in really quick. It comes in really quick and then mellows out really slowly. For some reason, that makes more sense to me when doing speed. Yeah, that feels good. That feels fun. I don't know, it's a slight. It's mild, but it's kind of cool. And then we'll take the travel trends, the word travel trends, 2016 travel trends, and we will, I don't know, we'll do something. We're going to do something. We're going to make something. And so we'll take travel trends here. And we'll bring this in, travel trends. Maybe we'll just have travel trends fade up. Or maybe we'll do some text animation. We could do some text animation. Now you're going to ask me, but Chad, why didn't you take the orange solid and option bracket this so that it only starts there? Because it's not going to be seen before there. You're right. You are right. You are correct. It should only start there. Let's take travel trends 2016. It's a little outdated. We can make it for 2023 if we want to. We'll say travel. This is all caps. Travel trends 2016. We'll leave it at travel trends 2016. It'll be fair. We'll put this here. We're going to go back to selection and we're going to change the size of this. This is going to be like 80. 80 maybe? Yeah, let's make it 80. Still didn't have the bold. Oh, I had the. I couldn't even see what I was typing. Let's type in 2016. Had the shift key down because I was typing in all caps. Travel trends 2016. We forgot geographic location. We forgot geographic location. How do we know where we are if we don't have a geographic location? Let's click and make a geographic location. Geo. Now this doesn't need to be all caps, so let's make this. I think if I do it this way, geographic location. We don't want this to be in all caps. So we're going to go here and say, turn up all caps. And we need to make this orange. So we need to make this probably this color orange, whatever this is. There seems like there's a tonality here, so we're going to make this geographic location right there. We're going to put this over the shape layer because clearly it needs to be over the shape layer. There we go, geographic location. Maybe we'll make it a little bit smaller. I don't know, you think it's big enough? You know, it should be smaller. It should be like 60. Maybe 70. We're going to go back here and change to 70. It's all trial and error. So we have geographic location. This is in here. Travel trends. Geographic location. Now we're going to think about how do we want geographic location to come in. So this is going to bump over. This is going to come here. As this is opening up, maybe we'll have this do simultaneously. We're going to take geographic location and we're going to have geographic location slide on. But geographic location will slide on. Again, it will use a track mat of the shape layer. So it only exists with the shape layers. Now we want the shape layer to exist, but we want this to only exist when the shape layer is coming in. So we're using that track mat again as an idea. We're going to say position. When this comes in, this is going to come in position here, but then before that, it's going to be off screen this way. So it only exists where the geographic location is. There it comes in like there. I like that as an idea. We could play with a little bit of the ease for that maybe. Maybe just a little easy ease for that. Boom. F9, thank you. F9, and we're going to have that come in. There we go. And I don't know what we're going to do with travel trends. I haven't even got that far. We're only like two and a half seconds in. All this animation, it's really busy. A lot going on. We could slow this down a little bit, but I don't know if we want to. Let's just keep it active, keep it fun, keep it adventurous. I'm going to see that again. Cool. We'll take geographic location, because geographic location won't start until here. So it doesn't matter until there. And we'll take travel trends. We want travel trends to come in after this orange solid comes in, right about here. We're going to say travel trends. That's going to come in right about here and going to come up like there. And so we're going to have this start here. And maybe we do, I don't know, maybe we do some kind of an effect here. We'll have this just fade in letter by letter. What I really like as an idea is we're going to have this fade in by letter by letter. So we're going to say opacity. Opacity, we're going to go opacity. So this is going to do, I'll show you what we're going to do first. We're going to do opacity, and we're going to change the opacity to 0. So this is invisible now. And now we're going to have this range selector not come in. So it's going to come in like this and fade in like this. So it's typing in sort of. But I want this to have more of a fade effect to it. So two things we're going to do. We're going to go to the animator here. And in the animator control, we're going to say animator, add in another property of a blur. So a little bit of a blur, just so it comes in a little bit soft. Maybe 35 or so. So now when it comes in blurred, but it unblurs as it goes. We can do more blur so you can really see what this looks like. It's going to come in super blurry and lose its blur as it comes in. So it's going to come in like there and super unblurred. Again, maybe just 35. I don't think we need that heavy-duty blur. We're going to leave this on like this and this here. Okay, cool. So we have this blurred, we have this coming in. Now instead of doing the start point, the end point, etc., 0 to 100, I'm going to play with the offset. I like playing with the offset because it comes in like this and goes like here and then goes to there and then evolves. So we're going to go from 0 to 100. And the reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to change in advanced controls the shape is square. Now the shape is square brings each character in individually, if that makes sense. So each character is their own thing. So when it pops up, they'll pop up one at a time. I can show this to you with another thing, but just as an idea, this will force it to pop up another time. Here, I'll even show it to you really quick. This is going to be another little lesson inside of the lesson here. We'll get rid of this animator. We'll rebuild this animator here. And so I'm going to go here and take travel trends, and I'll show you this with position control. So if we said position control, and we said move this up screen, or move this up screen like this, what's going to happen is that as the range selector changes, the range selector is based on square, and so square comes in one character at a time. It says shape is square, and so when you change the range selector, it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, and each of these letters are individually. Well, we can change this from square to something like ramp down or ramp up, and ramp up would look like this, and ramp down, so it's going towards the effect that we did, and then ramp down would be going away from the effect we did. And so it continues all the letters as an idea. And the trick to range selector ramp up or ramp down is you have to animate the offset. Really, the offset is really the way to go, because then you can make them all move up and move all down. Because otherwise 0 to 100 just says, hey, creates a perfectly fine ramp. But if you offset the ramp, then you get the idea. Again, we're going to undo what we just did. And we're going to go back to this. In here we have this set to not position. We're going to bring back our animator that we had before. And our animator here, we're going to have opacity and blur. But we're going to go to range selector. Here we go, range selector. Under range selector advanced, we're going to open up range selector advanced. And under advanced, we're going to switch this to ramp down. Let's try ramp down. So now that's going to show up and they're going to exist there. Maybe ramp up, I think. Yeah, cool, I want it that way. So now we're going to say here, what's going to happen is this is going to exist. Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the offset to be not existent here. So we're going to go to the beginning of this layer, and the offset is going to be at -100, so it's going to be completely invisible. And then we're going to go here to a little bit later, and this is going to fade this on. And you see they unblur as they come in, and they have that opacity adjustment. This is how it looks. Yeah, that's just a cooler looking movement. We'll have this move a little bit slower. So this is coming in, boom, travel trends. Yeah, I just like that as an idea. That took a lot of work just to make that little thing, but I think it was worth it. I think it was worth it to make, you know, cool stuff there. Awesome. Cool deal. I feel like, man, honestly, maybe at this point we should save this, because I feel like I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm getting nervous now. Command S, let's save this to, we're going to call this climate change. And I'll just save this here in this shapes project. So man, whew, looks pretty good. Awesome. Fantastic. Man, this works. Okay, so let's play some more. So we're going to take all these layers, and we said this before, we're going to take all these layers, the world map, the geographic location, and I'm making these all 3D. I'm going to make these all 3D. All these are going to be 3D. The shape layers are going to be 3D. The climate change is going to be 3D. Camera's obviously 3D. This is 3D, and this is 3D. And so now we're going to take this, and then right about here, after this comes up, we can start to move down a little bit. Maybe as this comes up, this is travel trends, and maybe we'll just move down the camera a little bit here. We'll do position controls, and we'll just move the camera down. Just to show you this, we're going to move the camera this way, and then move the camera down, and then this. Oh, that's the z-axis. Sorry, the y-axis. We're going to go here and move the camera, so we see, boom. And we're going to keep moving up, so we see other parts of this. So now we're going to travel trends, right? So we're changing to travel trends. So now we go here, and this comes up, and then we move up to the next thing. Maybe we do apply a little bit of easy ease here, F9 to easy ease this. I always think cameras should have a little bit of ease to them. Maybe some more drastic ease. We'll go here into the graph editor. Again, for motion graphics, a lot of the graph editor will be your friend. I don't know. Is that better? Is that better? I don't know. It's playful. It's playful. Let's try it. Let's take it. Let's take it because it's playful. We could do some more, but we can have this be... Or maybe the other way. Maybe if we make this one shorter, but we have it be really ramped up this way, we can have it kind of playfully this way. So it comes in and starts moving really slowly. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Maybe both. I don't know. We're just trying stuff. A lot of times with the speed graph, to get that motion graph feel you want, you're just going to try and stuff. No, I don't want that much. We're going to go back to easy ease. Cool, we'll just have this be... Yeah, that feels better. That feels a little nicer, a little easier. Good old-fashioned traditional easy ease. And now we're going to go here. And so now in this... To the camera, put it on top. It doesn't need to be anywhere specific, but I just like it being on the top. Okay, so now we're going to go to this section here. So we just did the top section. Now we're going to go here and we're going to bring up these lines. So I'm going to take the pen tool. And the pen tool, right where travel trends is, or right where the T is, right here, somewhere around here. I guess this is not size accurate, but it is what it is. We're going to put here a line right about here, and a line going to right about here. And so that'll be a line going there. If you want to, you can bring up the grid. Not that. Cool. You can bring up the grid so you can see the grid. The grid might help you make straighter lines. And we can go here and say right here. So we'll take this guy. Sorry, we'll take the selection tool. We'll put this guy maybe right here. Maybe actually more, maybe right here. Maybe right there. And then this guy maybe right here. Excellent. I feel good about that. Pretty on the line. You can turn snapping and snap to the grid. And then right here, I guess that's good. Maybe here. Yeah, maybe here. We'll make another line. We have to make another line, so we're going to go back to the selection tool. We're going to go back to the pen tool, G key, and start a separate line right here. Except that's continuing that line because that made a square. See, that's being silly. That's because we're on this shape right now, and we're clicked on this shape right here. We don't want to be clicking this shape right here. We want to be a new shape, and we want to make another line. Cool. We have two lines. Excellent. Fantastic. So we have two shapes. We're going to take shape number one. We don't need this fill color. Cool. So get rid of the fill color. We need the stroke, though. We're going to take the stroke, and we're going to change this to obviously white. We'll make this white. We'll make the stroke width a little bit bigger. Now we have a little bit of stroke. Maybe not that big, just that big. And we're going to add some dashes. Add some dashes. There we go, some dashes. We're going to make the dashes a little bit longer. And a little bit thinner. So the dashes, stroke width should be maybe like 10. These are better. Better lines here. Let's make sure I'm back on the selection tool. Selection tool, so I have some dashes. Those are a little bit thicker than these dashes, but you know, it is what it is. I think it's okay. Maybe we'll make them stroke width to 7. 7? Even thinner. Cool. And just to animate this, we're going to have this be, these strokes are going to the offset of the dashes. We're going to animate the offset of the dashes so that when these strokes come up, they can come up here. The stroke right here is going to exist. The shape layer is going to exist. Command Y, or sorry, Alt, Command bracket, Option bracket. Option bracket. We're going to start there with the stroke there, and then we're going to go here and say, okay, at this point, we're going to animate the offset of the dashes. And so here, this dash is going to be going up a screen. We're going to go to the end and just have this be offset like this so they just roll up. So that rolls up like there. Excellent. And cool. So this shape is here. Fantastic. This comes on like this at this point here. Amazing. Great. We need to turn on the 3D though, because I want to turn the 3D because I want to take the position of this and move this down so that we know that these are going to be right here. So as the camera moves, these will be right here. So these dashes coming in. I'm going to turn the grid off here. Turn the grid off just for a second so we can see this without the grid. So now we just have the dashes, and the dashes are just kind of rolling up the screen. They roll up like this. Little motion of dashes going up the screen. Now, I don't know why I did this. This was silly. I made 2 lines. What I could have done would have made it a lot easier is just make 1 line and then duplicate that line and move it over. So we're going to take this line, Command D, duplicate it, and then just take this line and move it over. Then we have a second line right here. And that's better. So now we have both these lines. They're moving this way. I'm going to take this line. We're going to U key. Look at this. And then, so this one goes from offset 0 to offset 188. We're going to have this one go to negative 188. That way it rotates backwards. So now when these come up, they come up and they're going opposite directions. So one's going one way, one's going the other way. We'll actually just go to the end here, and we're just going to say at the end, maybe we'll make this negative 300. No, that's too much. Negative 250? Yeah. And this one's going to be positive 250. And so that way these ones are going in opposite directions, but they're doing the same amount of energy. You get the idea. So they're going here, they're going backwards, they're going against each other. I don't know how these things should come in. Maybe they should fade up. So we'll go to the shape layer. We'll say T key, opacity. Hit the I key to go at the beginning, and we'll just have them fade up slowly. So they'll come in after all this animation. This is going to come in, it's going to fade up, and it's going to be like these 2 lines. I love that. That's great. That's beautiful. I love everything that's doing and exactly how that's working. That's doing everything that I wanted to do. I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty good. Do you feel good? I feel good. Cool. Now we're going to do some challenges here. We're going to see some challenges. We're going to make the... I think we're going to try and make this house. I think we're going to try and make this house and maybe some of these clouds as well. This will be a little bit trickier, so deep breath. Deep breath. We're going to try and make these clouds in here. So we're going to try and fit these clouds right into here and fit this house into here. So let's take a look. I'm going to make this house... let's try it this way. Okay, we're going to try this as an idea. I always change the way I do this, and every time I change the way I do this a different way every single time. So what I'm going to need here is I'm going to need to go and make a polygon. And I'm going to make a polygon, and I'm going to go here in the polygon, just here, and I'm going to make a polygon that's going to make this many sides, because this was the many sides I had last time, but I'm going to hit the down arrow and make less sides, because I want to make a diamond. And I'm going to make a diamond that looks like this, and make this shape here. So we're going to make this diamond. We'll have this diamond fitting upright, there like there, and we're going to have a nice diamond. Okay, I'm going to switch to the selection tool and take this diamond and bring this diamond down here. Now, I just made a mask on the background. Why? Because I wasn't paying attention. I clicked in the background. Let's not click in the background. Let's click here. Let's do this again. Now we'll make another diamond. We'll make a diamond right here that opens up a diamond right there. Now I'm making a shape layer. Okay, so I've made a diamond shape, which is not at all what I want. This is clearly not what I want. I do not want a diamond shape. I'll go to the selection tool and I'll say cool, diamond shape. I want a shape that looks like this but has kind of this. So let's take a look. This is called a polystar shape, and in the polystar shape I'm going to go here, and right now it's a polystar. I could have drawn this by hand. I could have just said with the pen tool draw this step by step and draw this here. I could add some outer roundness to this and say add some roundness in the edges to this and have this be some roundedness. I don't necessarily want that, so we're going to leave that alone. This is one way of doing this. We'll try 2 ways of doing this just so we can show you both ways of doing this. We won't get through this whole thing, but we'll keep playing and you'll get some ideas. So in here, I'm going to take this polystar and I'm going to say, instead of a polystar, I'm going to right click on this and say convert to Bezier path. And when I convert to Bezier path, it now becomes a good old-fashioned Bezier shape. It loses its polystarness and it has a generic path there. And so now with the path, I can go back to selection tool and say, hey, polystar shape here. Click away, click on these points here, and I can say, let's grab this polystar shape. Let me click on the path. All the points are selected, but I can take this point and put, whoops, sorry, now I'm moving all the points. We'll hit the shift key to deselect this point and then select it again. And then I can take this point and move this here straight like so. And then I can go here with the pen tool and G key, make another point. Whoops, don't click and drag the point. Let's make the point, and then let's move the point here. And I could make kind of a house like this. That'd be one way of doing that. That'd be one way of making the house. As you can see, at least the shape of the house, I can make the shape of the house like this by doing that. I'll show you another way of doing this, which would be another idea. Is instead, what I could do is I could make a triangle. I could say make a triangle, and I could say let's go here with the shape, and I could say let's take this, and instead of making a diamond, we'll just hit the down arrow, and as we make down arrow, we'll make a triangle. And so we'll make a triangle that looks like this, or something like that. And so we'll have a simple triangle like so. And this would be a triangle here. And we could attach a square to the bottom of the triangle, or we could change the shape and then draw the rest of the square. But I don't necessarily like this way as much, because this way seems problematic because the point is too sharp. Now we could try something else additional. So let's play a game here. We're going to do one more way of making this. Again, I don't know, there's probably even another way of making this probably faster than I could do. But now we're going to go here and say, let's take this, delete this, or let's undo, go back to this. So we'll go back to this shape here. I like this house. This house is okay. It looks a little bit lopsided, but I think it's all right. I think it's relatively okay. We're going to turn this off for a second. We're going to try a third way of doing this. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to make a diamond shape. And so we'll go to the polystar way, and I'll make a diamond shape. And I'm going to hit the up arrow to make another point, make a diamond. And make a good old-fashioned diamond. We'll put this kind of just perfectly vertically like there. And so we have this shape here like there. Cool. We have a diamond shape there. What we're going to do is we're going to do this. I'm going to take this diamond. We'll make this diamond a little bit bigger. And I'll just show you an idea of what we're going to do. We'll take the outer radius and make this a little bit bigger. Cool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a control, because I want to make this roof right here. I want to make this roof up top here. So I'm going to say, instead of the polystar path having a fill, we're just going to have it have a stroke. So now it's just going to have a stroke here around this. We'll take the stroke, we'll make the stroke a shade of white. Cool. And we'll add a stroke here. And so the stroke looks like this. Now I'm going to go to this control, and in this control, I'm going to say add in. So I'm going to click on the polystar star 2 here. I'm going to say add in a trim path. And the trim path allows me to take the polystar path and trim it back. So this has a start and an end point. And with my start and end point here, I can say start and end point. Let's trim this back so it's only this big. It's basically here to here. And now it's not in the right place, so I'm going to offset it to rotate it so it doesn't start there. It starts here. And now I have a roof. There, I'm just going to turn this 90 degrees sideways and say cool. And so now we're having the 0 to 50. Yeah, this is cool. So now I have a roof there like so. I don't like the strokes line cap or line join, so we're going to change it to a bevel join because this feels more bevelly. Maybe it's rounded. I don't know. Is it rounded? Yeah, maybe that. So we have this like so. So now we have this shape here. Okay, so this is an idea. Just an idea. We can approach this here. So now we have this shape here. We're going to make a rectangle. We're going to go here. We'll make a rounded rectangle, just a slight rounded rectangle. We're going to make a rounded rectangle that is like this. Like here. Maybe not so rounded, but just kind of there. We'll actually make a rectangle here, and we'll just add some rounding to here, like this. We'll take this rectangle. We're getting playful now. We're trying to build shapes, and it's sometimes tricky. Sometimes, I had to figure this out a couple different ways to make this, and make this do what I wanted to do, and have this adjust how I wanted to adjust. So we're going to take this rectangle. Okay, deep breath. We'll get rid of the stroke because we don't want the stroke. Cool. So now we just have the rectangle there like so. We'll change the rounding, the rectangle roundness, just a little roundness on the edges, just a little bit of roundness because there's a little bit of roundness on the bottoms here. Now I want to take this polystar, which we're going to call my roof. I'm going to relabel this, call it my roof, and we'll have this be the roof here. And so we're going to take the rectangle. This will be my house body. So this will be house body here. Now what I'm going to do here, or actually this is the we'll call this the top floor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this. I'm going to cut this out based on this shape here. So we're going to take the roof. I will duplicate the roof. We're going to duplicate the roof, put the roof up here. So now we have two roofs of the same thing. we're going to go here and take these two, and we're going to put these two together in a group. You can group things together by hitting Command G and grouping them together. Now we have a group. Inside of that group is the roof and the top floor. This is putting both those things kind of into a folder or like a pre-comp, but they're called a group in shape layers. Now in this group, we're going to add a merge path, and the merge path is going to look like this. The merge path puts a stroke and a fill in here, which I don't want the stroke, obviously. But now the merge path, I want to say intersect, and that's only going to be a triangle right there. So now we have the triangle just like there. This group has the just top floor of this. So this is how this looks. I'll click away from the container so you can see, V key, click away. So now you have the roof and there. So now we can take this shape layer and we can say, let's transform, let's scale this down a bit. Whoops, we're going to take, sorry, we need to take in the, not the transform of the contents, we're going to transform the group. So the group transform, we're going to scale this down a bit. So it's going to be here, like so. So now we have this, plus we have a roof. Excellent, fantastic. Now, we're going to take this top floor. Actually, you know what, we're going to take the top floor. We probably could have left the top floor's roundness. We didn't really need to take the rectangle's roundness at all here. We're just going to make another rectangle. And we're going to say the other rectangle is going to come from here to here. Again, we're on the shape layer. We're going to be here, and we're going to pull from here to here and have another shape like there. So we're going to take this guy, put this guy right up top here, etc. So it's going to look like this, and then we have this kind of house there. So to speak, we have the house there. I want to go to this rectangle. So this is the bottom floor. Bottom floor. We'll open up the bottom floor, maybe apply some roundness to this. Again, we don't need a stroke. Even though the stroke is 0, we don't need it anyway. I just like to get rid of it. Have a little bit of roundness in the bottom, so it's a little bit rounder on the bottom. And so then we have this like there. Whoops, I keep moving the wrong thing. Let's go to the bottom floor. Let's move this up a little bit. I'm going to turn off the container so I can just see this as an object. We'll just put this into here. We can fit this there. That would be another way of doing this, is to have it like this, to have this house like there. I don't know which way is better, but we could play a little bit and get the shapes we wanted to. We could also take the rectangle and change some details about it, but it's intersected right now, and the intersect is doing there. So you see that we can group, we can intersect, we can trim paths. We have those advantages as well. I don't like the roof anymore because the roof has a little bit of a cut in there. Let's make the roof a little bit smaller. Let's go to here. We'll take the bottom floor and the grouping out, and we'll go back to the original roof. And so the roof will just move the end point a little bit smaller. And we'll offset it a little bit like there. So we just have there. So we have the building sort of, you know, we could play with it a little bit. I think it should be a little bit wider. So we could go back to these shape layers, transform controls, and we could say with the transform controls of the entire shape layer, let's turn off uniform scaling and make it a little bit wider. So now we have a little bit wider house. There we go. So we have a little bit wider, maybe 110. A little bit wider house. We have an idea. We have something there. We're starting to build a house. Now, here's the tricky thing. Here's another tricky thing that we can do. We can go here, and we could say, in here, let's take the shape layer and cut out a door. Now, we could do this with the merge path. We could set a subtraction merge path. But occasionally what I want to do is I just want to use a mask. But I know if I'm clicking the shape layer, if I'm clicking the shape layer and I use something like the rectangle tool, it's automatically by default, just a straight rectangle. With the straight rectangle tool, it's automatically going to make another shape. And that's not necessarily what I wanted to do. I don't want it to make another shape. I could, but it's going to do there. What I want to do is I want to take the shape layer. And you'll see a little button up here that says, hey, make a shape layer. Tool creates a shape layer. Or tool creates a mask. So now you can add masks into this. So if you wanted to add a mask into this, you could start playing with some masks into this there. Now this is an additive mask, which is going to add in a space, but we're going to switch this mask to subtractive, and we have a hole cut out there. And simply enough, could I take another rounded rectangle and make another rounded rectangle for a roof or for a chimney? Yeah, I want to make sure it's not creating a mask. It's creating a shape now. Again, go back to creating a shape and say, let's make another shape here that looks like this. Little shape there, like so, and have a chimney. And we could change the chimney a little bit. We could go back to this rectangle, call this chimney, and we could build this. Would this probably be easier to build in Illustrator and bring in? Sure. We're going to the chimney. We're going to take the rectangle roundness, and we're going to say, let's take the roundness and make it a little more rounder, so it's a little bit there. And we have a little chimney there like so. We can make this a little bit wider. Turn off uniform, make it a little bit wider. A little bit wider chimney. I don't know, we can take a look. V key, there we go, we have a chimney. It feels like it's on top there. Whoops, I keep moving, not the chimney. Let's click on the chimney first. Let's move the chimney around. And what we may do is we may say, hey, let's take this rectangular path. Let's go to convert to Bezier path. Now we're going to zoom in super close. We're going to take this point and move these points down here like there, so we have a little bit more chimney action going on. And we could probably get rid of this roundness as well, but you know, you get an idea like there. Now you have a chimney. Chimney's a little tall. We can make the chimney a little bit shorter. Again, we could take these points here on the chimney. Let's click on chimney. Take this point. Oh, we'll just double click and we'll just go container, bring it down. Little chimney. Cool. Cool. Love it. Double click on this and we'll have this here. And so we have a chimney, you know, we have a house. It took a while, but it looks, I mean, it looks pretty darn close, right? It looks close enough to what the house is. Now it's clearly the wrong color. I know, we spent a lot of time making the color. So let's get rid of the fill on all these. And we can actually keep the fill, and what we'll do is we'll go to the contents, and we'll put a fill after this. We'll add in a fill after this. And this fill will change this here. But what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, we can get rid of this polystar too because we don't really need this. We're going to make a fill after this, and this fill will be above previous in group, and make the whole thing a certain color, and then we can change this to a shade of orange or yellow, whatever this is. And this is totally yellow. There. This is not doing what I wanted to do. We could change the fill for each of these, or we could group them all together and then put a fill after them. But I think we're going to leave them alone. We're going to change this fill to yellow. Cool. We'll change all these fills for all these things, even the bottom floor. Fill to yellow. You could group these things together and make the fill, but just in case we change anything later on, we'll just have them be all the same. This grouping has a fill into it. The hierarchy gets a little weird sometimes, so you got to be careful with the hierarchy of how these things come together. And then lastly, the roof sets this way. There is a stroke. Oh, the stroke color, that's the reason why it wasn't coming in as yellow, because we added a fill, but we didn't add a stroke. So now the stroke is there. So now we have the yellow house. We have it there like so. And we have ideas. Can we make these other things? Yes. Can we make this bus here? We didn't even decide how this thing is going to be invented, how it's going to be created. Maybe we say this kind of just wipes on or something. We could go here and say, take this shape layer. Maybe we'll add a square mask around this. See, it just made a shape layer. Look at that. Make a mask around this. So this makes a mask around this. We're going to take this mask. Oh, well, this would be a separate mask there. So we have to pre-compose this maybe. Maybe we'll say take this with the mask inside of here. We'll take this Command-Shift-C, pre-compose this, move all the attributes inside of here. That we have this. That way we can make a mask around this. And then maybe this will reveal. So once this thing comes up, this comes up, boom, and then at that point, once these lines come up, this thing reveals with a wipe from left to right. So we can go here and click this and say M for mask path. Animate the mask path to say this reveals this way. So it comes up, it goes reveal. I don't know if we want to do that. Now, if we didn't want to do that with the mask, we could actually take this as a layer and literally just, delete that and do this with an effect. We could just go here and say effect, transition, linear wipe, and then just adjust where the linear wipe is till it reveals. But that does the whole page. And we could change the angle to -90 or 270 and have this reveal. So we have it not there, and then have reveal. I don't know which way is better, whether to do with the mask. I'm always a mask person, but we have it reveal with the mask. I feel like the mask is quicker and easier for me. A lot of people like the linear wipe as an idea. Oh, sorry, let me undo. and have this reveal like this. That way we can feather a little bit of feather. That way it kind of comes on soft. Yeah, I like that. That's kind of cool. That's playful. Again, we can animate this linear wipe to say maybe a little bit easy ease. I always recommend, especially if you're doing motion graphic kind of stuff, maybe a little bit of easy ease. We can tweak and play and make something there so it kind of comes in. There we go. A little bit of playfulness. Always a little bit of playfulness. It's an idea. So one of the things we're seeing is we have these modifiers. With shape layers, inside of the shape layers, we have these modifiers that you can explore and you can play with as an idea. You have a trim path, which we talked about. You have a merge path, which allows us to merge the path. You also have some controls for wiggling the path. So for example, here, we can do this. At the bottom here, we're going to scroll down to the bottom. So we're going to move really past all these things. Yes, we can have all these things animate. We're going to make some really cool things with these all animated. But I'm going to do this bottom really quick, just to show you an idea, just to give a more of a lesson there. I mean, I could fill in all the text and have the text do stuff and etc. But now we have this coming in. So let's say, for example, at the very end here, we're going to sort of wrap up with this. At the very end here, we're going to have this camera. We're going to put this camera back on top. So here, with the camera, we're going to have this move from here. It's going to stay here for a second. It's going to do all the animation, and then at the end, it's going to move down to here, way up to here, and it's going to be all the other layers here. I moved the white solid for some reason. That was an accident. Sorry. Position of white solid. Yeah, that's totally wrong. Let's reset that. Cool, that's better. So now it comes here. So it comes up here, it goes there, and we're going to make, obviously, the shape layer. We're going to make that 3D as well, so that moves with it. We're going to actually have to move that down a little bit. So it shows up here. Again, it's too big, but, you know, it is what it is. We'll scale it down. Luckily, we can scale it down, have it just be there. And position, we can have it be over a little bit. There we go. So we have this coming in. Boom, this shows up, and then this goes off screen. And at the bottom here, maybe we have sea travel show up. So we're going to go make a rectangle. Again, another shape layer, so we're going to click off of everything. Not be clicked on anything. If you ever run in a room to click things, you can hit Command A, which would select all these, or you can hit Command Shift A, which would deselect everything. And now we'll make a shape layer. We'll make a shape layer here, we'll draw a new shape layer. This will be white by default, but we'll keep it playful. Here we can take the shape layer, we'll change the color of the shape layer to this shade of blue. Cool, so now we have this blue shape layer, it says sea travel. Excellent, fantastic, great. What I want to do is I want to get rid of some of this with ellipses. So I'm going to use these as a series of ellipses to kind of get rid of this. So we're going to go here, we're going to make ellipses here. And I'm going to make another ellipse like this. So it's just going to be part of the same layer. We'll hold in the shift key so this kind of comes in just like this. Sort of like there. Now I'm going to do with this ellipse, I'm going to make sure I'm clicked on the ellipse, and I'm going to add in a repeater. And this repeater, we're going to say the repeater here is going to repeat this ellipse a number of times, maybe like 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Just enough so we cover the rest of this here. So then we have this repeater here. We'll take the repeater, we'll go into transform of the repeater. So this is how it repeats here. We're going to say transform the repeater. It offsets this position by 100. We want to offset this, whatever the size of this is, just so that each of these are just touching. Here, I'll even add in, just for fun, I'll add in a stroke, just so you can see where these are touching. So now they're just barely touching, they're like so. We can take this whole shape layer, this ellipse here, we can move this ellipse up a little bit, just so we move it up a little bit there. We don't need so many repetitions. We're going to go here to the repeater and repeat it maybe 8 times. It's still a lot of repetitions. Maybe 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times would be fine. Look at that. 6 would be good enough for us. 5 would be too little. So let's do 6. Yeah, 6 is enough repetitions, so now we have 6 repetitions. Great. So we have these repetitions moving this like here. Now we're going to go here and say, okay, this repeater is moving and doing this thing. Great. So this is repeating. Okay, so in here we're repeating this. Now we're going to take this. This is going to be this ellipse. We're going to put the rectangle on top of the ellipse, and then in the contents, we're going to add in a merge path. And the merge path, it adds a new stroke, which we don't really need. We'll get rid of the ellipse's fill. Or sorry, the ellipse's stroke, I mean. Get rid of the ellipse's stroke because we don't really want that either. We want it to exist but not exist, the stroke. And then we're going to go to the merge path and switch the merge path to subtract. That's going to be the rectangle minus the ellipses. And since the ellipse has a repeater built into it, we now have waves. We can take these ellipse and move the ellipse up a little bit so it's a little bit shallower waves. And basically we have a shape like that. So we have sort of that. We could move these closer together maybe. We may want to take the ellipses and take the repeater. And we could actually look. We could see the repeater's size versus the... So the ellipse size is 200 or something. And the distance of the repeater is 205. We could change this to 200. And then I think they'd have sharper points of the offset. So yeah, there we go. So we have that as repeater, so we have a little bit sharper points. We have this kind of wave happening there like so. And now we could see, we could even maybe, just maybe, we could animate this a little bit to have these waves move back and forth. So we could offset these. Oh no, offset would not do what we want to do. What we want to do is we want to go here, and we want to take this ellipse, and we want to go to wiggle transform, and that's going to move these around a little bit. Now the wiggle transform says, hey, how many times do you want to wiggle per second? 2 times per second, or maybe just take 1 time per second. We'll have this be a really shallow wiggle. What do we want to wiggle? So we have a temporal phase, we have a correlation, how much it wiggles, and now here we're going to go to transform. This is the transform control for the wiggle transform. Well, now nothing is wiggling, but we want to wiggle the horizontal position a little bit. So that as this plays, this will wiggle this back and forth. We'll do a little bit faster. We'll do like 5 times a second. So you can really appreciate this. This is going to wiggle these waves back and forth. So these waves move and they kind of adjust there. So now you have this playing back and forth like this, and the waves are wiggling back and forth. You know, just for something. We could put some kind of other kind of control in here, etc. We could even say, instead of wiggle transform, we could say wiggle path on this whole layer. We go to the contents and go to wiggle path on this whole layer, and that would make the whole thing have some wiggle around the path. So we'll change the size of this, and now you have some craziness here. Now if the wiggle in this path is, we'll change the details down to a little bit less. We have a little bit of there. Now we have some crazy waves going on here. But if you have the wiggle path not on the entire rectangle and the ellipse, you have it just on the ellipse, added into the ellipse. Now it's only the ellipse. Now we have crazy wacky waves, which is not like this, but you know, you have something weird. So these are other controls you can do. You can do wiggle path, you can do wiggle transform, you can add all these things in shape layers to really play with the animation. Will this take more time? Yeah. I mean, we're going to do some things with the text, having the text, maybe the numbers will rise up, maybe we'll have this little, can we make this little fish? I don't know. I've never made this little fish before. Maybe an ellipse with something else. Can we make this boat? I don't know. But you can see that we can make some things using shape layers and really make some fun, playful animation. A little bit of camera, a little bit of effects, a little bit of text animators, a little bit of shape layers, a little bit of just making solids and just some keyframe animation using the speed graph. Man, we get some fun stuff here. This took like an hour. I mean, I was explaining some stuff, so it took a little bit longer, but it took an hour and change, and it was just literally the first 5 seconds. A lot of work to do, but we can get it done, and we'll have some more fun. All right, that's all we're going to do for today. We're going to call it a day, and we're going to move on. Maybe I'll continue to make this. Maybe I'll share it later. But for now, this is enough for a lesson for you getting started and have some fun and make some cool stuff with shape layers. I'll see you in a future lesson.